Hello. This would be an excellent time to take your seat. Highly recommended to take your seat. I love it. Come, come. Come, children, come, come. It's like Ding Dong School. Only a small population will remember that reference.
Perfect.
I heard Peggy Lee say the way she got her room quiet was she sang more quietly. It's really not my MO. Welcome, roomers, zoomers, and tubers. See, that's not working. No one's catching on with that, but you're in the room, and hi, Zoom. And there are YouTubers too, but they are not potatoes. We welcome you to this service made sacred by your time together, our time together wherever you are. A special welcome if you're visiting with us. We would like to greet you afterwards. If you are a visitor, we don't make you stand, but just go like this so I can spot who you are. And I promise it won't be the last time you do that this hour. Our senior minister would love to greet you, but Micah Bucey has a very New York story. He was hit by an e-bike. It fractured his knee. He has had successful surgery, but he is at home recuperating, and we send his love, and at the end of our service, we'll be able to see his big head behind me with hair close to God, so you will at least be able to see who our senior minister is. I need to let you know that there will be no announcements, no joys and concerns today. That is the kind of announcement that is a joy to some and a concern to others. I love that Sunday when, I think it was Laura Jane said, we will have no joys and concerns today. So it's like, oh, wow, all right, buckle up. But we do have a service today that is so special, full of celebrations. I think we do have to acknowledge the heavy concern, though, that we are all carrying this day for the people of the Middle East. And a friend posted an Anne Weems poem that ends like this. Some say there is no hope, but then I've always applauded the holy fools who never seem to give up on the scandalousness of the faith, that we are loved by God, that we can truly love one another. I no longer pray for peace, I pray for miracles. We are celebrating our own miracle today, the long and very storied history we have had with the remarkable Jean Montrevil. Welcome home, Jean. He will magically appear. You can read more about Jean in your bulletin, and I hope you can take the time to do that. We also are always really happy to have Rikki singing with us. Essie's going to help us with a song that Micah and Henco wrote that's very special for today. And, oh gosh, man. All right, so I also need to introduce you to my friend Ken Medema. Sorry, I've just dreamed about this day for only 45 years. So point being, we're longtime friends. In fact, I worked out that it was almost 50 years ago, but truly 50 years ago, Ken started a very special kind of ministry. He is a recording artist, composer. He and Beverly have traveled the world. Beverly is his 36 years on the road manager with him, huzzah. She knows.
Do the land acknowledgement before Ken.
This is how we roll. The thing about Beverly is that she too is a great musician, trained organist, but she works the soundboard like nobody's business. She's really great technically. So it is my great pleasure that they are joining us this morning, and Ken will be providing music, and I'm just so grateful that you get to know a person who is this special, not just to me, but to so many people. We begin our service with a land acknowledgement. We gather today on the ancestral land of the Munsee Lenape tribe of the Lenni Lenape people. We acknowledge these people of the Stony Country as individuals with families and history, as communities with a collective bond and their own stories to tell. We decry the unjust taking of their Lenape hoking. We acknowledge the unfulfilled promises of U.S. treaties granting land access and the still unresolved traumas of forced migration. We acknowledge and affirm Native values and Indigenous cultures while holding space for the myriad authentic and post-colonial Native expressions of faith in life. I'd also like to add that in our Sacred Reckonings dance troupe, not particularly rhythmic, but we are working to become better anti-racist, but we also talk about how to be anti-colonial. And I haven't completely worked this out, but I do think there's some kind of link between anti-colonial work and welcoming the immigrants, for making reparations and becoming a more just place for anyone who casts their lot with us. Welcome to Judson. Please join us for this hour of worship, and we will begin with a prelude.
I am a stranger here in a strange land. I've left behind me my home and kin. I am an alien, I am unwanted. And there is no one to take me in. Who will befriend me? Who will defend me? Who will extend me an open hand? Stand beside me, who walk before me, for I'm a stranger here in your land. Down in my homeland, while you are sleeping, the voice of weeping is never still. Down in my village, oh place of my childhood, soldier enters to maim and kill. And in my dreaming, I can hear the screaming of those who suffer beneath his hand. Who'll will stand beside me, who will walk before me, for I'm a stranger here in this land. Here in your city, I seek my people who know my sorrow, who know my pain, who speak my language, who love my homeland, and from the ashes we'll build again. My heart is burning, all my soul with yearning for my returning to my own land. Who'll stand beside me, who will walk before me, for I'm a stranger here in your land.
Hi, I'm Jane Treuhold, and Ken, that was absolutely incredible. So beautiful and moving. Thank you. So I'm here to give greetings from the Judson Immigration Task Force. We've been waiting to do this celebration for, as of Wednesday, exactly 2 years, October 18th, 2021, when Gene walked off the plane, and we were, many of us there, to greet him at JFK. And what a glorious day that was. After, it's extremely, extremely rare, probably less than the number of people on one hand, that people get to come back once they've been deported by ICE. The odds weren't great, but Judson, the Judson team, all of Judson, the NYU team, kept persevering. We wrote letters. Those who knew people in Virginia reached out to their contacts there to find somebody who knew somebody, and there were those people. You'll hear more about that later. Suffice it to say that we all continued to take the actions and keep the faith that we could make the almost impossible happen. And we did, with the help of grace and the power of miracles, of love, and maybe even a prayer or two. Thank you for being here. I'm really happy so many people are here. Your turn.
My apologies. I got too excited. Our call to worship is a prayer for traveling by Micah Bucey. There are paths chosen, and there are trails thrust upon, and there are roads treacherous, and there are channels cleared, and there are connections made, and there are bridges burned, and there are rafts built, and there are tunnels blocked, and there are walls built, and there are arms outstretched. And whether the way is worn and wearying or embarrassingly easy, whether brightly lit with searchlights or shadowed by bold borders, the key lies in knowing that you are moving, even when things seem scarily still, knowing that there's a horizon, even when you're stuck in a hole, knowing that even as you seek home, you are home, that your humming bones are still a sturdy structure, your screaming muscles are still sacred insulation, your scathed skin is still wholly holding it all together, that you might be in need of a place to land, but you are also always your own landing place. That by thriving in a world that you didn't even expect you to survive, you have always already arrived. Amen. Now, don't you feel like singing? Please stand as you're able in body or spirit to sing All Are Welcome.
Ancient Testimony, Book of James, chapter 2, verses 2 to 4. If a person with gold rings and fine clothes comes into your assembly, and if a poor person in dirty clothes also comes in, and if you take notice of the one wearing the fine clothes and say, "Have a seat here, please," while to the one who is poor you say, "Stand there," or "Sit at my feet," have you not made distinctions among yourselves and become judges with evil thoughts? The first modern testimony from the United States welcomes you by Tracy K. Smith. Why and by whose power were you sent? What do you see that you may wish to steal? Why this dancing? Why do your dark bodies drink up all the light? What are you demanding that we feel? Have you stolen something? Then what is that leaping in your chest? What is the nature of your mission? Do you seek to offer a confession? Have you anything to do with others brought by us to harm? Then why are you afraid? And why do you invade our night, hands raised, eyes wide, mute as ghosts? Is there something you wish to confess? Is this some enigmatic type of test? What if we fail? How and to whom do we address our appeal? Second modern testimony from Tell Me How It Ends by Valeria Luiselli. This is abridged version, so don't try to follow along in your bulletin. My limit is 15 minutes. Why did you come to the United States? Perhaps no one knows the real answer. I know that migrants, when they are still on their way here, learn the immigrant's prayer. A friend who had been aboard La Bestia for a few days working on a documentary read it to me once. I didn't learn the entire thing, but I remember these lines. Partir es morir un poco. Llegar nunca es llegar. To leave is to die a little. To arrive is never to arrive. I've had to ask so many children, why did you come? Sometimes I ask myself the same question. I don't have an answer yet. Before coming to the United States, I knew what others know, that the cruelty of its borders was only a thin crust, and that on the other side, a possible life was waiting. And once you're here, you're ready to give everything, or almost everything, to stay and play a part in the great theater of belonging. In the United States, to stay is an end in itself and not a means. To stay is the founding myth of this society. No matter the cost of the rent and milk and cigarettes, the humiliations, the daily battles, you will give everything. You will convince yourself that it is only a matter of time before you can be yourself again in America, despite the added layers of its otherness already so well adhered to your skin. But perhaps you will never want to be your former self again. There are too many things that ground you to this new life. Why did you come here? I asked one little girl once. Because I wanted to arrive.
So, Jane Treuhold, the chair of our immigration task force, asked me to give the big picture. The big picture is not a pretty picture. We all see hate and death and despair and desperation. We all see Jews hating Muslims and Christians hating everybody too. We all see Palestine and Ukraine and Sudan and many other places. And we all see the Republicans and the Democrats and the independents and everybody else hating everybody else. And we all see the gay people and the lesbian people and the trans people and the non-binary people and the binary people and the cis people hating and killing and despairing everybody else. And we all see the black people and the white people and the yellow people and the red people and the gray people and the tan people and everybody else. And the blue states and the red states, we all see it. And so what do we do about it? What on earth do we do about it? And I've got a good idea. And this is really my first reaction. My first reaction is to cover up, to hide, to go away, to be in my own little place, dealing with my own stuff, because it's much too big for me. But this is church, and we have Jesus, and we have Jean. So that means can't hide. That's not the message. Jesus said, welcome the stranger. Jesus said, feed the hungry. Jesus said, free the captives. Jesus spoke about individuals. The woman at the well. The woman at the well. The Good Samaritan with one other person. So Jesus says, no hiding. Jesus says, welcome everybody. And then there's church, where we try really hard to all love each other. And we try really hard to care for each other. And we try to be welcoming of all the colors of all the people. And then there's Jean. And Jean Montrevil is, of course, a person, but also a symbol of what we all tried to do. And many people wrote letters, and many people prayed, and many people marched around Washington Square twice. And twice, many people got arrested. And then a miracle happened. Jean, who has been fighting this immigration thing for 30 years, was sent to Haiti for 3 long years, got back. And it was an amazing event. But he was only back for 3 months, because that was just a temporary stay But luckily, the lawyers at NYU said, wait a minute, we've got to keep trying. And we tried. And then 2 years after he got back, there was an immigration judge and a hearing last spring, and they said, he can stay here forever. A miracle, right? And so, my job with the big picture is to say the big picture is not good, but hiding is not good either. Believing in church and miracles and Jesus and Jean is where we are now.
Well, today is my birthday. I feel like today is my birthday. But it's a day of closure. I've been waiting for this day. I've been dreaming about this day while I was in Haiti. I knew when I come back, I'll be standing here in front of you guys to tell you the story. But, I don't really want to talk about my story. I have said enough, but there's a lot of new faces and a lot of new people that really don't know. King was just trying to explain to you guys what I went through for 30 years, fighting a brutal system. The immigration system after 9/11 was the worst system in the world for immigrants. We suffer a lot. So what I did for today, I kind of summarize a little bit of my story for the new folks, because we have a lot of new people in here that have no idea what I went through, what this church went through back in the days. Okay. My name is Jean Montrevil. I'm an immigrant rights advocate or activist. I'm from Haiti. Many of you know about Haiti, how Haiti is right now, a country being run by gangs members. Terrible place. And the government knew that. That's been happening for the past 30 years in Haiti. No government, no president, just thugs and gangs members who control the country. But they're still deporting people back there now as we speak today. So after 30 years fighting ICE, on April 18 this year, an immigration judge finally saw the good in me. That's what the judge said. He saw the good in me and granted me relief from deportation. Finally, after 30 years, it was over because of you guys' hard work. And but in 2018, under the Trump administration, I was deported to Haiti. But in October 2021, I got a second chance, especially when Governor, I gotta put my glasses on, guys, sorry. I'm getting old now. When Governor Ralph Norton granted me a pardon for my drug conviction from 3 decades ago, which ICE has been using as a pretext to deport me. Folks, for the past 20 years, I have been on supervision, all types of supervision. The ASAP program, which was a torturous program. You have to check in 3 times a week and having a curfew. I had an ankle bracelet on my legs for 10 months. Started to tear up my legs. I have holes in my legs. It was terrible. And which ICE has been using as a protection department. Folks, I'm sorry. This past week, having a curfew and unable to work to support my family. And I never gave up. I fought through the legal system, and now finally I won. Which I like to say, we won. having founded the New Sanctuary movement in New York City and being a member of my church, Judson Memorial Church, have been my greatest accomplishment. Advocacy work, my case has been about separation from my children. And the victory is huge for all immigrants and my fellow advocates, because we immigrants, we have no voices in Congress, especially with black immigrants. There is much harsher treatment on the immigration law than others. We have to fight, we have to continue fighting the Can't Deport the movement. So this is for the new folks that know nothing about my case. You want to know more, you can always Google my name and find out. But today, I want to take our time really to say thank you. Thank you to those who has been involved in my case and that make this day possible for me. I have made a short list. The problem of lists, you're going to have some people you forgot to mention, and I can guarantee you guys, if your name is not on the list, it's not because I forgot you, because it's too long, and I don't want to take too much time today. I will start thanking, in no particular order, Jeanette Cawthon, my ex-wife. Guys, if I'm standing here today, it was because of Jeanette. Because when I first met Jeanette in 2002, I fall in love. I knew that this was the woman that's going to stand by me, fight for me until the end. In 2005, after 9/11, I was in the peak of my life, working, taking care of my kids, staying out of trouble. I had a great job running my family's old business. I was fantastic. I had just bought a brand new car, a Lexus 400. You know, I was in the top of my life. And I had just met Jenny. I was happy, 100% happy. Then in 2005, on the final day of me reporting to immigration, to ICE, not ICE, to the federal government for the last time. I finished my sentence. I spent 11 years, I didn't mention that before, 11 years in prison, folks. 11 years for the war on drugs. That's what I said. The story is so huge, I'm not going to have time really to explain that to you. So when I was released, I was placed on 5 years supervision with the federal government. So on that day, in 2005, I got a letter saying I have to report. To sign the immigration, my supervision. You free. You did your time, you did your supervision, you free man. I'm happy. But that day, I went to my probation officer. ICE was there waiting for me. Guys, I drove my car, I parked in the parking lot. I was supposed to pick up my son from daycare. Jenny, at that time, knew nothing about me having a deportation order. So what do I do now? I asked for a phone call, say, we're going to give you a phone call. I say, I have to call Jenny so she can pick up my son from daycare. That phone call was never given to me until I was transferred to a prison in Patterson, New Jersey, where there was holding immigrant detainees. And I finally called Jenny, told her, listen, baby, ICE got me. I'm not coming home. I said, I'm not going to cry, but this was a very tough day for me, But I knew that one day they will come. Although I kind of brushed it off, I'm living my life, staying out of trouble, working, taking care of my son at the time. But I had made my passport. I told Jenny to give them the passport for me. Jenny said, no. You're not going to leave me here raising these kids by myself. She did what all good women will do, got me a lawyer. I told the lawyer not to do what he did the same thing. Anyway, back then, lawyers were taking advantage of immigrants. I used to have a dislike for immigration lawyers until I met the people, Joshua Bar David, very good lawyer. I really did. I used to not like immigration lawyers because back then they took advantage of immigrants. They take your money and run with it. That lawyer took $3,000 from me and didn't do no job, nothing. Jenny didn't give up. She went online and searched for help. I got transferred from New Jersey to Maryland, far away from her, and we had just had a 9-month-old baby. Josiah was 9 months old at that time. So she found Family for Freedom, thank God for them. And then they were able to file papers for me. But immigration at the time, they had a policy. If they can't deport you after 7 months, they have to release you on supervision. But you have to fight for it. You know, you have to file papers, you have to do this, they got to review. I didn't get no review. So Family for Freedom filed papers in court, and then in August that year I was released on supervision. As I said, the story, you know, the rest is history. With Family for Freedom, I met Artie and Shabazz. I also want to thank those two guys. Artie, she pushed me. Jen, don't give up. I remember there was a time I didn't want to go back to Family for Freedom to work on my case. Artie screaming at me on the phone, Jen, you have to come. You have to come. So I went. Shabazz trained me for weeks of paid training when I was making $15 an hour. I never pick up my check. I think I will ask the current director to send me that check now, which is my ex-wife, Jeanette Cawthon. It was $15 an hour for 2 weeks. I was trained to be an organizer. From that moment on, immigrants were on the news. During the Bush, I think Bush was the president at that time, they were breaking their doors down, go to factories and grab immigrants out and separate them from their families. Guys, this was heartbreaking. It doesn't matter which side you want for the immigration policies, whether you're for immigrants or you're against immigrants. This was heartbreaking. And I used to say back then, if you guys sit there and watch this happen to you, one day they are going to come after you. That was my message back then when I used to go to churches and spread that message. And look what's happening now. Immigrant rights is human rights. So, with Artie told me about the new sanctuary movement, a lady in Chicago took sanctuary at the church. This was big news. I remember sitting in Artie's office, Jean, will you take sanctuary? Because they're about to start a national movement. I thought about it, but knowing the pain that I was going through, I could not say no. I decided to be a member of the New Sanctuary Movement of New York City. That's when I met Dana and Grace. Dana, I know you're not here today. I have to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for believing in me when no one else believed in me at that time. Guys, no one believed in me. I met Grace. The story about Grace, thank you so much. I remember when I first came into this church, the only person I knew from Judson was Grace Goodman. That day, me and my wife, Jenny, we left our baby's bottle. We had Jemiah. We had to stop at the store and get. That's how nervous that we were coming here to this church. Because before that, we were newlywed, and we were looking for a church to raise the kids, to give them the fear of God. And then Justin just came. Perfect. So when I came to that door, I saw Grace Goodman from here. She didn't know I was looking at her, racing across to greet me. And then, of course, that day I met your partner, Susan. May she rest in peace. And she said to me, Jean or Kiddo, something like that, the board of Judson voted 100% to give me sanctuary. And she also said, if there's one or two people in here that don't like it, F them. She was that kind of person. I knew then I was in the right church. And I sat on that side every Sunday I come to church. We bring the kids, and to this day I've never felt discriminated. Everyone in this church have supported me to the fullest. And I want to say thank you for that. Grace, thank you. Who else do I have? Oh, I have my angel. No, I have Ken. It was Ken and Grace. Ken, thank you. Thank you so much. I have so much respect for you. I remember me and Ken sitting in Gerald Nadler's office. Ken speaking to these people about me. We have just met, maybe 2 weeks or a month. King telling these folks that I am a great person, a good man. Guys, I had just met King. So I started to believe that I was a good man. You know, I go home, yes, I'm a good man. I go to the train station now, somebody show up, I give up my seat. I start holding door for people. Yes, because I am a good man. You know, the reason I'm saying this is because for many years, after my release from prison, everywhere that I go, Jane, you bad. You got a criminal record. You can't get no jobs. I have to find my own job. I have to create my own job. So at this moment, when I became part of this church, to listen to King and Donna and Grace speaking of me, of a good man, it was life-changing for me. You know, not that I was a bad guy, but to hear other people say it, and I started to believe it. King, thank you so much. King, during the first month, I found out King, you know, top-notch professor, book writer. She dedicated her book to me. That was so moving, King. And I'm sorry, I have to tell you, that book, I started to read it when my sister sold that book. Because that book is so popular in university around the world. And I had no idea. She asked to borrow it. She never returned that book to me. I'm going to Boston and look for that book back. Then I have to thank Jane Treuhold. She is my angel. Jane has been with me from the moment she came to Judson, looking for help, looking to help immigrants. At the beginning, I was worried about Jane. I even asked Donna, can we trust this lady? Donna said, yes, she's good, Jane. We can trust her. She's a good person. Then from then on, it was a marriage made in heaven. She has never missed my check-in from the moment she became part of this church. Every single check-in, she organized it. Guys, when I say check-in with ICE at 26 Federal Plaza, one of the hardest things that immigrants can do. I used to do it by myself, so I know what it's feeling. When we go up there and we see these people by themselves, I know what they're feeling. Because when you go see the officer inside, they put the fear in you, make you scared, make you want to don't want to use bad word, pee on yourself. I experienced those. So the moment that Jane started to go with me, I felt at peace because she took the pressure. There were times she was more scared or worried than me. You know, those are the things that she did for me and supported me. When I went to Haiti, Jane used to call me to encourage me. You know, how you doing, Jane? Those calls were what kept me alive in Haiti, or give me a sense that one day I'll come back and see her. And Jane, there's no word that can describe what you mean to me. And I want to thank you so much. I love you so much. We've been through a lot. There was one time doing my check-in, I was taken in. Jane and Holly were somewhere. You have probably 6 people there. And Jane, you know, started crying. It was so hard for me. When I was inside, I knew what she was going through outside. Oh, then I have my friend Gregg. Gregg, thank you so much. Thank you for your support, your work. Thank you. Your connections. Everything that you did helped me to get back here today. And I want you to know that you helped support my kids, still my kids. And guys, I have Ted also, one of my great supporters, great hard work. And the list goes on. I have Mary Russell, where she is. Mary Russell, one of my great supporters from day one, you know. Mary Myers. You know, I don't want to start naming names because we are going to forget some people. Obviously, this whole Judson crew. I know a lot of you are new, faces I haven't seen before, but this church is why I was able to come back here to America to be with my kids. It has always been about me being with my kids. I've always dreamed, watch my kids grow up, raise these kids like a normal human being. And I don't want to say last, but we have to thank the NYU Love Clinic. We have to thank these people. Oh, God. Alina, where she is? She's back there. An amazing woman. I knew Alina before I got deported, but we were never friends. She knew me, part of the movement, but she remembered me. When I got a call from her while I was in Haiti, I don't know what I was doing that day, probably sleeping or depressed. I got a call from Alina saying, Gene, the clinic is thinking about taking your case. We think there's something we might be able to do. No promises or nothing. Will I accept? I said, of course. Guys, at that point in Haiti, I had no hope of coming back. Even when Donna visited me while I was in Haiti, I said, Donna, I think it's over. I have to accept, because you have, after 30 years, you have to accept the end. So I said, it's over, Donna. It's over. And she said to me, Gene, try to live on 2 fronts. Live your life normal in Haiti, and then live hopes one day you'll come back to be with your kids. So I did that. So when Alina called me, I said, yes. She said, okay, we're going to take the case. I said, well, we have to discuss that with Joshua by David, because Joshua have been my best lawyer up until that point. He did everything that he could have done for me and the justice system, and with no result. Then Alina's team started to call me. I think it was Lauren and Diana. They're here today. Guys, thank you so much. But again, I started to worry, will I get a chance? Because These are law students. No experience, they're just law students. Me who have the experience of dealing with lawyers, I'm kind of worried. And they started to ask me questions from when I was a baby. Which kindergarten you went to? I'm like, oh my God, oh God, oh God. No. But I never wanted to give up. I never wanted to give up. And thank God for them. Then they graduated. I'm like, oh God, this is it. Then I have Aiden and Sarah. Sarah, amazing woman. She did everything for me. I'm talking about taking me to DMV to get my driver's license when I come back. Amazing lawyers, and all because of Alina. She always get me the best student. I have to thank them from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, anyway. I have Gabriela in here too. Gabriela and Yolanda. Here go Yolanda. These are the two that brought me home, that won the case on April 18 when the judge said he saw the good in me. So we have to thank them for the job, a job well done. Thank you again, Alina. You are the best. Thank you so much. Well, I think I'm done. I didn't want to take too much people's time. I do want to remind you guys that we immigrants, we really need your support, even today, because immigrations have never been different. It's the same way that it was 100 years ago until today. It's never changed. The reason we came to this country, like King was trying to explain it's simple. We try to find a better way to live. We're looking for freedom because back home, we don't have that. There is no freedom. When I was in Haiti, guys, every single day I woke up scared. I can't go to work. I'm walking on the street scared. I have to turn back because I'm afraid that they're going to come and kidnap me because I was a target. I live in America before. I may have friends with money. So I was very scared. At that time, I stopped going to work, because I'm scared. So all these immigrants you guys see that's coming over here, because they can't live in their homeland. It's not like they came over here to take other people's jobs. No, it's because back home, nobody wants to leave their homeland. Nobody that I know of wants to leave their homeland. So we have to support all the immigrants that we can, because if we don't, one day, all the other rights that we fought for in this country will disappear. I want to say thank you again to Jenny. You deserve it. Thank you for raising these kids by yourself. And something I want to tell you is, Jenny, from 2005, I have not been the same man that you met in 2002. I've basically been living in La La Land like a zombie, walking, can't make no right decision. I wish sometimes that I follow your advice because you basically 99.9% right all the time. And you have to forgive me. Forgive me that ice destroyed our marriage. It was simply ice. And I'm sorry for that. I apologize. With that, I say, guys, thank you. Thank you to Judson. I don't know if I forgot anyone, but thank you.
We're all going to sing this, but I'm going to start it off, and there are a couple of places where the congregation comes in that are marked. So I think you can stay seated. It'll be easier for you to see when I'm leading it. They say to leave is to die a little, and to arrive is never to arrive. They say to leave is to die a little, and to arrive is never to arrive. And all I want to know is how it ends. Can you tell me how it ends? This leaving and arriving, this withering and thriving, this dying and staying aliving. Tell me how it ends. They say to leave is to die a little, and to arrive is never to arrive. They say to leave is to die a little, and to arrive is never to arrive. And all I want to know is how it ends. Can you tell me how it ends? How we got to this place, why we border our space, what fears limit our grace. Tell me how it ends. There's a war we can't see, maybe two, maybe three. Some are loud, some can barely be heard. There's a pain we can't feel, but it moves and it's real, even when the right answers are blurred. And all I want to know is how it ends. Can you tell me how it ends? On a road paved with wrongs, who decides who belongs? Will we learn some new songs? Tell me how it ends. They say to leave is to die a little, and to arrive is never to arrive. They say to leave is to die a little, and to arrive is never to arrive. Here's my answer, I'll keep you alive. Here's my answer, I'll help you survive. When there's no answer, hear my answer, let's thrive. Until the end comes, I'll help you to arrive.
Gene, you're a good man. You're a good man. I heard Gene say that again this morning. You'll forgive me. You're making. I heard Gene say that again this morning. He's a good man. I've heard him say it many times over the years in many places, most recently at the Village Independent Democrats, where he received an honor. And it always made me stand back a little and say, what are you talking about, Gene? Of course you're a good man. Why would we be doing this for you if you weren't a good man? And of course, I stepped back, got out of myself, and thought about it and realized what Gene was saying. It made me realize what I was doing here, what I think the task force is doing in many respects. Of course, we're all flamethrowers. I'm a flamethrower. I've been around Federal Plaza 100 times. I've been up in ICE offices with Gene 100 times. But what it made me realize is what I'm really doing here is church. And what we're doing here today is church. What you're seeing here is artwork that happens every Monday down in the assembly hall. Although we feel helpless, I know, in the face of this awful injustice all around us, in our streets, we're being faced with it in our streets today. The one thing we can do is open our doors, open our arms, and open our hearts, and say to people, we love you. Jane, we love you, you know that. We have your back, we've always had your back. And that's what we can do. So I'm about to also ask you to support this place, and when you do, remember that, whether it's financially or in any other way. In your bulletin, you'll see many ways you can give to Judson Memorial Church. We're about to pass the baskets. And I want to remind you, never forget, miracles can happen. Thank you. And please welcome our friend, Rikki Will.
Yeah, that's good. Hello. A few years ago, Micah told us all a story about his experience going to volunteer at the Mexico border. And one of the ways that he helped when he was there was he married people during the day, because they realized that married couples had a little bit more rights in terms of the immigration process than single individuals. So during the daytime, and I think they even decorated an area and leave it to Micah to bring so much joy to this a place where it's really challenging. So he was marrying people, and then I think a few days in he got a call, and I think a lot of you know this story, but he got a call that he was asked to help, he and another volunteer were asked to help stay with this woman who had been a subject of a photograph that had sort of been plastered on a lot of newspapers. And the photograph depicted this woman running away from tear gas with two of her children with her. I guess some people took this photograph amiss and was sending this woman death threats. So what Micah and another individual did was they stayed with her in the hotel room, and I believe they got up really early, and kind of snuck her out to the border before the people who were offering these threats knew that she was gone. And he told us this story, and it really sat with me for a while for a lot of different reasons. I think you might be able to glean from my lyrics how I feel about photojournalism, but also bringing joy, and then this woman, the idea of just not feeling safe when she slept with her babies, when that's what she was trying to do, was to keep them safe. So I thought that Micah and this woman Maria deserved a song, and I didn't finish it. I left it unfinished for a long time until Micah reached out to me a few weeks ago, and so here it is. It's called Open Heart. That photograph was everywhere. Believe me, I hate it too. No one asked my permission. Do you even know my name? What it take to make that call? Ain't it lucky you got a home at all? You could threaten me with my life. Imagine it's yours in my arms. Stay with me tonight. Keep my baby safe from the phone calls and the nightmares of us. go and help out married people in the day. You got a call that you won't tell your mom about, at least not today. See, that picture made him hate me instead of hero mom. Come and stay by my side, tall and kind and warm. Stay with me tonight, keep my baby safe with your tall frame and your warm smile and your open heart. I was just doing what you'd have done. Maybe one day I'll be as free as you. You know my name. You spoke my name, and everyone should feel safe when they sleep. Should feel safe. Stay with me tonight. Keep my baby safe from the phone calls and the nightmares of all. I was just doing what you would have done. Maybe one day I'll be as free as. Stay with me tonight. Keep my baby safe with your tall frame and your warm smile and your open heart.
Rikki, thank you so much. Yes, I am cold. Thank you for asking. Jane Treuhold called me and said, we don't have a clergy person. By the way, I am not a clergy person. I will pay one on TV. But she said, we need somebody to benedict us, and I do the benediction. And okay, here's my little secret. I don't like to pray in public, just so you know. So I thought, hey, Ken Medema is in town. Let's let him benedict us. Smart girl. And I think you would approve of that thought, am I right? And just to let you know, it will very clearly be a point when you should stand and sing, and it's something familiar to you, so worry not. But then after we sing, I'd like for you to sit just a minute so we can have a greeting from Micah. Ken Medema, please benedict us.
Well, it's a day of celebration for the good work you have done. It's a day of celebration for the race that you have run. Broke down some barriers. You've been through sorrow and through pain. But when the sun comes up tomorrow, you're gonna rise up and do it again. Oh, you rise up and do it again. Judson, that's who you are. You will rise up and do it again. Yes, you will. And you'll take this journey far. Oh, you've had some really good practice at bringing down some walls. And you've had a kind of miracle, 'cause you felt the call. You've cleared some channels, and you've opened some doors. But when the sun comes up tomorrow, you're gonna rise up and do it once more. You're gonna rise up and do it once more. You're gonna rise up and do it once more. Oh, when the sun comes up tomorrow, you're gonna rise up and do it once more. Rise up. Stand by me. When the night crumble in the sea now. Get up and do it again. Sun comes up tomorrow. Rise up and do it again.
By me, just for a minute. When I first moved north in 1977, we lived in a house in Kearney, New Jersey. I do mean we. Ken Medema, his wife Janie, who, not for nothing, is a fabulous theologian. What she does with the Old Testament would curl your toes. And their 10-year-old, my sister, her husband, and my niece, who was a year old. And so one Sunday morning, we get up and we say to Janie, we're going to go to Judson this morning. We heard about Judson from Missionary Ladies. Let that soak in. And Janie said, "Oh no, that's where the ministers dance naked on the altar." So needless to say, we could not drive fast enough to get here. And it happened to be January 1978. It was the first Sunday that Al Carmines had come back from his aneurysm. Margaret Wright, wonderful cabaret singer, sang "A Good Man is Hard to Find." They were drinking champagne. We found out that the Jewish woman on staff had just been arrested in a sweep with prostitutes the night before, and we said to ourselves, this is not our mother's church. And you had me from day one. So Medema and I and our families lived together for a year, and then he helped me find a place to live in New York, where I have been for 45 years. So you can see I'm entirely indebted to this man. But one of the things that makes me happy that he was here today is that it does express the joy of Judson, just like my first service here did. We have cake that the Immigration Task Force has arranged for us in coffee hour, some bubbly. We are truly celebrating. We will ask you to move quickly to get what you'd like to have and come back to your seats, because the program continues as we continue to celebrate this great achievement and having Gene in our fold and all the people that helped him. And now we should be seeing a fairly big head with that great hair.
It is so great to see you. I had sincere wishes to dance naked on the altar for all of you today. You might have different plans, so I am sending good energy and prayers and wishes from my home, just a few steps away from Judson. And I want to say, as we prepare to move into just the next section of this wonderful, wonderful service, I want to say thank you to one of my favorite faith leaders in the world, and that faith leader is Gene Montrevil. We've applauded Gene a couple of times today, but I want to hear applause again for this congregation breath. You give breath to this continuing movement. And as we have learned from our work with New Sanctuary Coalition and our Immigration Task Force, you can't deport a movement. We will not allow these things to happen in the shadows anymore. So thank you, Gene, for being part of this work that sheds a light in places where empire wants us to only feel shadows and disconnect. Thank you for reminding us of the connections that are always there for us to build. I also want to thank some of my other favorite faith leaders, which are the amazing folks of the Immigration Task Force.